Here's a common layout problem, and that would be having a small piece at the end or edge of a concrete walkway. Now, this probably won't be a problem if you have tile on a concrete slab where it is not the edge. For example, if you had a kitchen over here and a living room over here with carpeting, this might not be a problem. Let's go back to the small piece on the edge here. Now, this is a probability. This is something that could happen. This is not something I guarantee will happen. Let's just say that you have a 12-inch piece of tile and then you have a 2-inch piece of tile. Or let's say you have a 3-inch piece of tile here. I'm suggesting any tiles 3 inches or under could actually have a problem. When people step off of or step onto on the edge of a sidewalk, walkway, set of stairs, anything like that, then they're putting a lot of pressure in the front. Sometimes it will actually pop the back up. Depending on the tile, the way it was installed, if it's really adhering to the concrete and has a nice bond, then it might not pop off. But I've seen it before where the tile isn't really squished down enough into the thin set, and it's basically setting on top of the ridges that are left when you put the trowel across the thin set. Before you put the tiles, there's usually little ridges there from the trowel. The tile here, if it's just setting on top of that, it'll pop off. I've seen this plenty of times. Here's one of the solutions I came up with, and that would be to simply move the smaller piece that you would run along the front back 1 row. And it doesn't look bad. You can see right here, looks nice actually, depending upon the look you want. Now, I'd like to point out that the small piece on the edge, your next question is probably going to be, how small? What's the smallest piece I could put on the edge? I would hate to see anything less than 2 inches on the edge here. Preferably 3 inches. 3 inches or less might be the case. But if you think about it, if you have a 4-inch tile or mosaic tiles that are 1 inch, then you're going to be, this video might not be that much help for you. If you have mosaic tiles, I should say. Mosaic tiles, you are just going to be taking a risk using them on a concrete floor because the tiles are small, and I have seen them popped maybe 2 or 3 back on the edges. Two or three of the 1-inch tiles are popped back because of this problem, because it's just too small on the edge. So surface area is going to play a big part in this. In other words, a 12-inch tile is going to cover more surface area than a 4-inch tile, meaning that a 4-inch tile placed on the edge is going to have a greater chance, I should say, I hate to even say that, of falling off. Because a lot of it, the reason why I hate to say that is because it really does apply to the circumstances, the type of concrete, the type of tile, the type of adhesive used, how much was used. There are just too many things that can come into play here. But you're not going to go wrong doing something like this. Or you could do something like this if you have a wall or the end of the building. The exterior wall in the building is like this. This might be a patio. You can always start from the front and have the small strip go along the wall. This is probably going to be the ideal situation because no one's ever going to be walking over here, or it's not going to be a high traffic area. Here's the picture that inspired the video. You can see the full tile in the front and a row of thinner tiles behind. Now, I'm guessing that this was done for decorative purposes because the tile here runs all the way back up against a wall on both sides. However, I would like to point out that at one time, this particular concrete design patio might not have been here. This might have actually been the end of the building, and this could have been grass or gravel at one time. So don't, sometimes we look at something, just like the reason why I made the video, but me making the main point of the video was if this was an edge, if this was actually something you could step onto and then step down into, to something that would create more pressure on the edge here than it would traveling from one surface to another with only a small variation, maybe less than 1/4 of an inch in height. So I just wanted to throw that out there, even though this was the original picture that inspired the video. This might not have been there at one time. And if it was, and all of this was designed together, then this still could have just been an architectural detail, and it still does provide us with a nice detail. Don't forget that I'm not a big fan of having small pieces, 2 inches or less, let's just say, at the front edge here, even if you only have a small difference in the height between floors of 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch, 1/2 inch, something like that. You could still put a lot of pressure on a small tile like this if it was located on the edge, and of course it would pop off. So not a good thing. So realistically, you have a few choices here. You can relocate the thinner tiles back, put it up against the wall, or change the layout design to where you don't have small tiles. And if you need another video on that, eventually I will make one. But if you need one a little sooner than later, I will make one on that, because laying out the tile is actually the key. It's probably the most important thing you can do in the tile installation process, except for actually choosing the tile. The choice of the tile can make all the difference in the world.